Now, one of the weird facts about freelancing is that only 6 people knowing what you do is enough to keep landing premium clients month after month. And this actually has nothing to do with your follower count, but it depends entirely on which people know who you are and what you do. And that's why in this video, I'll show you the exact system for finding those 6 people so that you can get premium clients on repeat, plus the one AI tool that I built that is gonna make this extremely easy. Now, before I hand you that AI tool, you need to first understand how the system actually works. So let's start with how premium clients are actually gonna decide who to hire. A premium client, meaning someone who's willing to pay a lot of money for work and who's actually easier to deal with than those clients that are just price shopping, is not gonna be scrolling through Instagram hoping to discover a designer that they like. If anything, they're gonna be doing something extremely different. So this actually comes from a research firm that's been tracking how businesses and clients are basically hiring their clients for more than a decade. And the biggest finding that they keep finding is that across every single one of their reports is that every hour that a premium buyer spends deciding who to hire, only about 10 minutes of those is actually talking to anyone like you. So what exactly does that mean? The other 50 minutes is going to be completely invisible. They're going to be asking people who they already know and trust for a recommendation. This happens across all industries, obviously, but they're going to be pulling up on designers that they've heard of before, and they're going to have a couple of names ready to go on their radar. And this is going to be happening behind the scenes on Slack and private groups that they're a part of. And by the time that they actually reach out and schedule a call, the shortlist is basically half built already from research and conversations I've been having inside, which means that the entire game of getting premium clients is basically won or lost before you even get on a call with them. So the real question that a designer should be asking themselves is how to be on that shortlist before it even exists. And the answer is going to be a little bit different than what you're going to assume, because when it comes down to being specifically visible to those handful of people who are actually going to be doing the hiring, well, this is the spot where most designer gets pulled in the wrong direction, because a lot of advice that designers are hearing out there is to keep posting on Instagram and to keep making YouTube videos like I'm making, and to send more outreach, and eventually someone is going to turn into a client. And that does happen, and that is how I've gotten a lot of clients before, but a general audience is almost never going to convert into a premium client. Now, it does happen, but what I want to talk about is being consistent in these. Now, the people that are hiring for high quality premium work are going to be the founders, the marketing leads, creative directors, and product heads. So very specific people at specific companies, and most of them are not going to be scrolling through your Instagram. So there was another study actually done by MIT that looked at LinkedIn and how real client and job opportunities basically flow across the entire platform of 20 million users. And what they found is that the connections producing the best opportunities are not going to be either the closest people to you or complete strangers. It's going to be something in between. So what that means is it's basically acquaintances, people that you've talked to before, or you kind of know of, or you're kind of in the same Slack group as them. Those are the people producing the most premium work that ends up in your inbox, which immediately changes what the goal should be. A following makes sense and grows when you entertain enough people at scale, but a premium client hires you when a specific small group of those decision makers in the company have seen you. They've seen how you think and how you work, and they've seen you enough times that they can trust you, and usually that just happens over repetition. So these two are gonna be entirely different fields. Now this one's pretty interesting. In 2021, a designer did an experiment where he was actively posting on 4 different platforms, and then he decided to go completely silent for a year. And what ended up happening is that since he changed the way that he was growing, his business itself grew by around half that year. So he replaced posting in all of those different platforms by posting a single massive guide on his core service, plus a long form piece of writing that actually answered the specific questions his ideal clients were asking. So specifically, this means that he stopped trying to be ideal to everyone and just tried to answer specific questions that his client might see. So realistically, what this means is that most designers are trying to be seen by too many people, and the ones that are actually landing those premium clients are being seen by the right few. And so the question is, how do you get seen by those few people that might potentially turn into a premium client? It all comes down to this one specific framework that I'm gonna call the warm 30. And the first step of the framework is gonna be a little bit interesting, because a lot of designers, when they think about who they actually want as clients, they tend to think in categories or niches. So they say that they want to work with SaaS companies or e-commerce brands or info businesses, and then that's kind of where they stop. But that's not really specific enough to produce an actual result. So if we go back to the very start of this video where I said 6 people is all you need to know, this comes from a study from Philip Morgan, and he spent years trying to figure out how the best premium clients come from. So the first step of this warm 30 is coming from this study. So the first literal sense of the warm 30 is going to be to write down 30 potential companies that you would actually want to work for, or people or emails or whatever, but 30. But you want to have a list with 30 of these names. So for example, if I want to work with companies like Notion or Linear, then that makes sense for me because I know that they might have the budget to pay the premium rates that I'm going to be offering for my service. Now that's going to be completely subjective to you what premium means. It might be that they can just simply afford to pay you because sometimes that might be it, or it might be that it just crosses a threshold of income that you want to be making every single month. Number 2, they have a real problem that you can actually solve as a designer, and you would personally be excited to work on their brand. So that last one is going to be most important because what really decides whether a client is premium is whether you get excited thinking about working for them. If any of one of these 3 things is missing, I think that you should just cut the name and replace it with something else. Now, a lot of people starting with this end up filling out the list just to get it done, but this is something you really want to spend time on, because the first thing you want to do after this video is grab the free resource linked below, which breaks down the whole process and includes the exact tool that I'll show you later on in the video. So you can fill out the 30 names without the actual manual grind. That single list is going to be the foundation of every premium client that you're going to land from this framework onward. And it's pretty exciting because once you have your 30, the second step of the framework is where you actually start getting some results, because having a list by itself obviously is not going to do much until you actually do something with it. So there's this psychological effect called the mere exposure effect, which basically says that the more time someone encounters your name, your face, or the work in a super low pressure setting, the more that they start to trust and prefer you. And this happens without them even consciously realizing that it's happening. So apparently this effect is super strong within a few minutes of them reading your name and then actually getting reached out to them. Now the effect is obviously stronger the more that it happens. The more times you're in front of them, then obviously the more they're going to get to know and like the work that you do. But 10 to 20 exposures I think is enough where they actually start to know and like the work that you do. So basically the 30 targets that you have, you want to be in front of them 10 to 15 times before you ever reach out to them directly. So you're not just gonna get their email and blast them with a pitch, and trust me, I get those all the time. It does not work. You're just trying to get a couple of different touch points in at a time, which can look in a few different ways. So that might look like leaving a comment on their post or sharing a piece of their work or having your own take on it. Something like that is usually going to come in pretty light and it's well received. But the main important thing here is to try to deliver value without them asking for it. The point is for the comment that you answer, or if you're sending them like a fake project brief, something like that, it needs to be actual quality work that they might benefit from. And you're doing this in a free way, but you're trying to get their trust and build a relationship with them. Meaning that when you finally do reach out for a project, you're basically a friend to them at this point, and it's not about converting and closing the client. Then you're basically just helping them out, and they've heard of your name so many times and they kind of have already worked with you in some kind of context because you're commenting and you're trying to help them in some ways. So in the end, it's a very easy close because you're just a friend, and this is going to close a lot more times. In fact, 15 more times according to this article than if you're just sending a crazy amount of emails. So the second step is basically that. I want you to find those 30 people and track them online. Start to show up without asking, just commit to showing up and build a relationship with them. And eventually, after hanging out for several months, then it's gonna pay off. But what do you do when those 30 people actually start to pay attention to you and start evaluating your work, or even the things that you're commenting on their posts? The client is basically gonna be unconsciously tracking if you're being useful to them, if you're trying to land them, or if you're just trying to waste their time. And this is something that's gonna be super important. Being aware of this and not trying to waste their time is something that's gonna lead you a lot further than if you're just trying to close the very first time that they see you. So again, when we're talking to these potential clients and we're trying to not waste their time, we want to always be leading with value. And this is something I've already talked about, but the easiest way to do this and how we do it in my agency is with Framer or any type of design software. Now it's very easy to set up a design and just share it with them as a real site with something like Framer instead of having a static file in someone's inbox. And when you actually build it and you create like a real website for them, something that's tangible that they can feel, then it creates a lot of trust for the client. And you've basically done free work, but realistically you're using AI and it's quite quick to do, so it's relatively fine. But at the end of the day, when the client sees that you've created basically an entire project for them, they're gonna love the fact that you put that much effort in, and clients are so tired of people wasting their time. So you basically send them a fully live version of their own product or the landing page or something that you think you can improve. Then by the end of it, they're gonna be impressed with your design skills, your typography skills, and everything else that comes with creating a website. So this is a very easy way to show your skills. You're building something that you think that they need, and it's just a very easy way to send something to them. But most importantly, this needs to be something small, specific, highly personal, and useful to the client, because it can't feel like a template or something that you just grabbed and slammed it in there. It needs to be something that filters the client specifically and is tailored to them, because they're gonna know with all the inbounding emails and everything that they receive. I'm speaking personally as well, but it needs to be extremely specific to the client. And by doing this, you're showing that you're paying attention to them, and it's not just another case study on your website or a fake client. You're doing specific work already for them. So I really like this because you're basically doing what other designers are asking permission to do. They're gonna be inboxing them saying like, hey, do you mind if I redesign the site for you and I send it to you? And you're kind of waiting for that reply to be like, sure, but they don't really want to say sure because they have so many other things going on. So just by doing a little bit of free work with AI and sending it to them, you're kind of avoiding that permission and just sending something with confidence, highly personalized, and it's just a great way to connect with someone. So now that we've created a list of 30 potential clients, we've tracked them online for several weeks, so try to kind of interact with them, and we've also started to lead with value. There's still one thing that is super critical when you're approaching clients, because clients, for the most part, if they're not in the design world, it's very hard for them to understand the difference between a $1,000 project and a $10,000 project. There's just not much for them to go off of unless you are in this world and you're a designer already. So one of the steps here is going to be the perceived value of your own work. When a client goes to your website and they understand that your projects are kind of inexpensive and you kind of work with anyone, then it's very easy to tell in their eyes that you are a cheap designer. But if you go on to another designer and you see that they have very expensive work, even if it's the same exact piece of work, just because the project is more expensive, it feels like it has more value. And so that in itself is going to be a challenge for you. You need to find where you can put yourself in that market without being too cheap, but without going super high that no one wants to hire you. It's somewhere between where being affordable for the client, but that doesn't mean cheap. That means being an investment for the client, and that can be up to hundreds of thousands of dollars if you look at what agency projects are pricing at. So with that being said, we have 4 different things that we need to gather for this to go well. We have understanding who our target client is going to be, communicating with them, and of course this is basically breaking it down super simply, but leading with value and creating sort of fake projects with Framer and being able to send it to them. And this is a method that we work with all the time, and I've talked about this before on the channel with Webflow, but now that we're doing with Framer, it's a lot easier. And then number 4 is going to be repricing your projects to be a very high value type of project. So guys, if you want to copy the exact system that I created, I'm going to leave the link in the description and in the pinned comment. Thank you guys for watching, and if you'd like to see how we can actually improve your personal portfolio, then I recommend that you watch this video over here.